Hey guys, Stephanie here. I have a question for you. Promise to be honest, okay? Have you ever had a crush on one of your teachers? If yes, I guess you could somehow relate to my story. I'm going to tell you all about my super fine boyfriend, Joseph. I put so much effort into winning him over, but trust me, he was worth every second. So this all began last year when I was a sophomore at college, majoring in performing arts. When it came to boys my own age, talk about boring. I didn't pay much attention to them as they were so childish and honestly, they just annoyed me. If I had to choose between dating some immature jerk or staying single forever, there was no contest. One day, I was over at my bestie Susie's place. We've been friends since forever, and even though we now went to different colleges, we still met up loads. As we were eating Susie's delicious homemade burgers, we talked about college, outfits, boys, that kind of thing. That's when Susie told me all about the new professor at her college called Joseph. She described him as extremely handsome, tall, intelligent, sporty, and he owned a motorcycle. He sounded far too good to be true, so I convinced myself there must be a catch. Perhaps he had bad acne, or maybe he had a wife and 3 kids or something. He doesn't have acne, he's not married, and he looks like this. She held up her phone. On it was the image of a seriously hot guy. I grabbed the phone off her and scrolled through his social media pictures. Jeez, this guy was so fine. So what if I'd never met him? I knew I needed to make him mine. I needed a plan, so I begged Susie to help me out. She thought I was crazy, but hey, she'd been besties with me forever, so she knew I like to go all out on things. She snuck me into class with her. It was economics. Boring, but staring at Joseph was worth it, and his voice was so dreamy. I knew I couldn't just sit there. I needed to make Joseph notice me. After class, I walked over to him, swished back my hair, and in my cutest voice said, "Hey, great class, but there are a few points I'm struggling to understand. Perhaps you could help me out?" He looked a bit awkward, but he agreed. I blabbed out a few questions about the class, and he waffled out some answers which I didn't understand. I knew I'd have to do better than this to keep his attention, so I continued to sneak into the class. One time, I pretended to fall out of my chair and feigned blacking out. I even dabbed white powder under my eyes before class so I looked extra weary. My hope was that he'd rush over to me and carry me to the infirmary. But no, some stupid other guy had taken that chance from him. Worse still, this doofus was so clumsy that as he was carrying me through the doorway, he knocked my arm against the door frame. Ouch! I bit down on my lip and kept my eyes closed. Jeez, why had my amazing plan turned into a disaster? Ugh. I opened my eyes just in time to witness the nurse coming at me with a huge needle. I screamed out, jumped off the bed, and told her I was feeling much better now. Despite my failed plan in pretending to be sick, I immediately came up with another one. One day, I punctured my own bike tire, then pretended to sadly walk my bike to the parking lot and asked Joseph to give me a lift. He shook his head, said he was too busy, then whizzed off on his motorcycle. I stood there speechless. Worse still, I had to walk my bike all the way home. Another time, I waited until it was just him and me left in class. Then, on my way past him, I dropped my books. Then I said, "Oh no! How clumsy of me," as I bent down to pick them up. Oh yeah, I was also wearing my tightest pair of jeans. I didn't think that there's any way he could resist me in those, but he didn't even help me pick my books up. Instead, he coughed to clear his voice, then said, "Can you hurry up, please? It's my lunch break, and I haven't eaten since breakfast." Typical. I was there looking sexy, and all he could think about was his stomach. I wasn't going to give up now. I hadn't attended a bunch of yawn-inducing economics lectures for nothing. So, thanks to my social media snooping, I knew Joseph's birthday was coming up. On his actual birthday, I had a class with him. Talk about fate! So, I brought him a cake and made the entire class sing happy birthday to him. Then I announced I had a special birthday surprise for him, and I sang out Louis Capaldi's "Someone You Loved." The rest of the class whooped and cheered, but he just looked down at his desk. Okay, so this was getting frustrating. What did I need to do to get this guy's attention? Jeez, I'd tried everything already. That Friday, one of Susie's college friends was having a party, so I tagged along. I sat in the corner and moaned out to Susie how I felt like I was getting nowhere with Joseph. I just didn't get it. Whatever I did, he just didn't seem bothered. I moaned out, "Susie, should I keep flirting with him? He didn't even lay an eye on me. He was such a tough guy, you know? Like an old boot. In fact, a rock had more personality than he did." Then Susie gave me a sign, but I kept saying, "And maybe he was gay or something?" Like, you see, he showed no interest in girls. That's when Susie hit my arm, and when I looked up, I was completely shocked. Joseph was right there looking at me. While I froze in shock, he shook his head, then stormed off. Without even thinking, I immediately stood up, rushed after him, and apologized. He ignored me and hopped onto his motorcycle, so I jumped onto the back of it and refused to move. "Please, I didn't mean what I said. Please, just listen to me," I begged. In the end, he passed me a helmet and told me to put it on. I couldn't help but feel excited. I'd wanted to ride on the back of his motorcycle ever since I'd first seen a picture of him on it. OMG. Now it was actually happening! Okay, so this wasn't how I envisioned it, but still, this was amazing. And I made sure to hug my arms tightly around his waist, purely for safety purposes, of course. After about 10 minutes, he stopped at a deserted road. I thought he was going to shout at me, but instead, he turned around and smiled at me. Wow! Without the frown on his face, he looked even hotter. "So, what were you saying about me earlier?" he asked. Nothing. It was just a misunderstanding." "That's funny, because it sounded like you thought I had no personality, and, what was it? Oh, yes, you think I'm gay." I'm sorry. You might be gay. It doesn't matter if you are. You have a great personality." Suddenly, he leaned forward and kissed me. OMG, talk about amazing! I was shocked, but so happy, even though I didn't know what was going on. As soon as he pulled away, I pulled him back so we could continue kissing. Then he said, "I'm not gay, and I like to think I have a dazzling personality. I just like playing with you, but it seems like there must be a long time for you to be more mature. But it's okay. I'd train you then. Be my girlfriend." Turns out, he'd noticed me too, but he wanted to see what happened first. Also, he thought I needed to grow up a bit, as my stunts, although amusing, were a bit on the childish side. But he also found the amount of effort I went to get his attention flattering. He told me how he'd only shown up at that party as he'd overheard me talking about it at college, and he wanted to come just because of me. I don't go to his classes anymore, which gives me far more time to concentrate on my actual classes. But we are now an official couple, and I couldn't be happier. So this is the story of how I ended up with the hottest boyfriend known to mankind. My advice to you is to be bold in the pursuit of love. As if you just sit around waiting for it to drop on your doorstep, well, you'll be waiting forever. Go get him, Tiger! That's what I did, and it totally worked for me. So there's no reason why it can't work for you, too. I'm Meg, and I'm just your standard 21-year-old college girl. Well, at least I thought I was. My story begins normally enough. I had this huge crush on a guy who was in his senior year. He's called Ian, and he's funny, sweet, and extremely attractive. I've noticed him since my first year here, but it's only recently that I think he started to notice me, too. College life meant that our paths crossed in the campus, coffee house, the corridors, the library, and at house parties, so he did know my name at least. So it's not the kind of pathetic crush when they don't even know that you exist. Now, whenever he sees me in these places, we smile and say hey to each other, and his eyes always linger on me that split second longer. I really figured that his lingering looks meant he had a crush on me too, and I had a chance with him. I'd been in the cheer team back in high school, but initially, I was unsure about joining the team at college, as my workload's so intense. But Ian's a massive sports fanatic, and he's on the football team, so I joined the cheerleading team to have an excuse to be close to him, as the cheer practice had the same schedule as the football team. My plan worked, and we started talking more. So, okay, it was only small talk. Stuff like, "Hey, how was practice?" and "It's the perfect weather for practice, isn't it?" Well, they might not have won Conversation of the Year, but it was a start. Besides, sweaty end-of-practice chats didn't put me at my flirting prime, as it's hard to maintain cuteness when my hair was stuck to my forehead. Talking to him gave me a buzz and meant that I couldn't sleep that night. To celebrate their awesome season ranking, the football team planned a party. Of course, they'd invited the cheerleaders, but as a newbie, I was nervous about going along, as I didn't know anyone all that well. After the practice, I was walking home when a familiar voice shouted, "Wait up," behind me. I spun around to see that it was Ian. As delighted as I was, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being watched. I looked over to the right a bit and saw a woman in a black luxury car was staring at me. But as soon as I spotted her, she closed the car window and looked away. That was a bit strange, but I couldn't care less about it, as my crush was standing right in front of me. "You're coming to the party, right? Bring your friends over too. The more the merrier." Ian smiled at me. I stood there in a daze, but I managed to nod and said, "Yeah, sure." He quickly walked away, but didn't forget to turn back to tell me, "See you tonight." I got jelly legs and had to lean on the closest wall to me to balance myself. Was this real? I pinched myself, and it was totally real. Ian technically just asked me out, right? Then I noticed something. Ian got into the passenger side of the black car with the strange staring woman. This was odd. I mean, who was she? Maybe she was his aunt or something, and she'd only been staring weirdly at me as he'd told her all about me? Excitement overruled my uneasy feeling. I rushed home so I could plan out my outfit. On my way back, I called up my best friend Liv. Ian told me to bring a friend, and who else would I bring? Liv is my best friend. We're inseparable. She often sits out in the field waiting for me to finish my cheerleading practice, and smiles over at me when she sees Ian chatting to me. I told Liv to come pick me up. I didn't want to drive because I think I'll be leaving with Ian later anyway, and if that's the case, Liv could drive home herself. We got to the house party. Everyone was having fun. Liv quickly blended in on the dance floor. I tried to enjoy it too, but couldn't help but look around, searching for Ian, the only reason why I was there. As I was lurking, I also met eyes with a very cute guy. He kept on looking at me. As cute as he was, my sights were firming set on Ian. After what seemed like 10 laps of the cramped house, I finally found Ian. He's walking in with a red Solo cup in hand, casually fist-bumping everyone. It's like there's a halo around him. He's so hot. He walked towards me and was really friendly. Then Liv appeared by my side and gave me a hug. Ian asked Liv lots of questions, which I thought was sweet. He was making an effort with my friend, which made him so thoughtful and polite. Now that I knew Ian was around, I could finally relax and enjoy the party a bit. Then I went to the backyard to get some beer for me and Liv. I came back inside carrying the beers. Liv had moved, so I went in search of her. That's when I found her kissing someone by the staircase. Firstly, I felt excited for her. My bestie was kissing a cute boy. But then I realized that the boy she was kissing had the same light-washed denim jeans on as Ian, and the same perfectly styled hair. Wait a minute. It was Ian! My best friend in the whole world was kissing the boy I liked! I was so upset I dropped the beers, then ran outside in tears. I sat on the curb feeling devastated. How could Liv do this to me? I looked up through teary eyes and noticed that further up the road, there was a luxury black vehicle parked up. That was weird. Was it the same vehicle as before? I went to the football team party certain that I was finally going to hook up with my crush Ian. Only I found Ian kissing my best friend Liv. Now I was sitting outside on the curb feeling dreadful. Geez, this night sucked. I stared at the black vehicle. Why was it following me? Maybe I should go and check it out. Suddenly, a hand tapped my shoulder. Startled, I turned around and saw that it was Ian. "Thank you so much, Meg, for setting me up with Liv. Don't worry, I'll definitely pay you back. How about lunch on Sunday? My treat." He winked, then walked off. I sat there, open-mouthed. Was he serious? He hadn't even noticed that I was crying. What a jerk. I felt like I was about to blow. My sobbing increased. I felt so rejected. So, does that mean he didn't like me, but he liked Liv? Had he ever liked me? What was wrong with me? Worse still, Liv knows I have a massive crush on him, but she still kissed him? I felt so betrayed. I'd lost both my crush and best friend in the same night. This party was terrible! Suddenly, I remembered the black vehicle, so I looked over to where it was, only it wasn't there anymore. I shrugged. I had bigger things to deal with right now than some weirdo in a posh car. The tears wouldn't stop. I was basically a waterfall. I wiped them onto the back of my arm, but this didn't help much. Someone sat down next to me. A guy. "Hey, what's wrong?" he asked. Through blurry eyes, I realized that it was the cute guy who'd been eyeing me up earlier at the party. I was too upset to reply to him, so I just sat there crying and shivering, which wasn't a good look. He took his jacket off and placed it around my shoulders. "I can't have you freezing to death on my conscience." He smiled. His smile was infectious, and even through my tears, I found myself smiling too. "Whatever it is, you shouldn't let it ruin your night. You're here now, so you should have a good time." This guy was right. Liv and Ian were certainly having a great time, so why should I be the one sat here miserable? I didn't need Ian or Liv, so they were both welcome to each other. I was at this lame party now, and I didn't have my car with me, so I was stuck here. I may as well make the most of it. "Let's get a drink," I blubbered out. I wiped my tears, and the guy helped me up, and we went inside. Jackpot for me, he's very cute. His name's Nick, and he's friends with one of the guys on the football team. I spent the rest of the party with Nick. We danced around and played party games. Turns out I sucked at beer pong, so I ended up quite tipsy from all the beer I had to down. I felt tired and wanted to go home, but how on earth could I sit in the same car as that traitor Liv? Talk about the most awkward car journey home ever. I couldn't put myself through it. Then Nick offered me a ride home. I acted shy, but agreed. I mean, who could say no to him? Besides, he'd cheered me up tonight. I told him the address and dozed off a bit in the back seat, then woke up just in time to tell him to turn left at the next intersection. Then it'd be my house. But to my horror, he sped up and drove past it. Confused, I told him that we needed to make a U-turn, but he just ignored me and smirked. I panicked. Then I yelled at him, "What are you doing?" Suddenly, he answered the phone. I heard a female voice on the other end. I stayed quiet to listen, but couldn't tell what she was saying. He replied, "Yes, I've got her here. We're on the way." Was I really being kidnapped? I needed to find a way to get out. I thought about calling my sister to help pick me up, and I'd jump out of the car at a red stop. I called her and whispered to her the situation and to come find me at the gas station we're about to pass by. I didn't hang up just yet. I told Nick, "I've already told my sister. If you don't release me now, she'll call the police." He looked taken aback. My plan did work a little, but not enough to make him stop the car. I had to switch to plan B, jumping out of the car. From now till we get to the gas station, there would be 3 red stops, and I'd have to brace myself to jump, or else we'd get to the highway and there would be no turning back. First, it was a green light. Second one, I had my hands on the car door handle, but was too scared to open it. Third one, I had to do this now or never. As we approached the lights, I closed my eyes and was about to do it. Then he suddenly turned left. I panicked. He stopped the car and told me to get out. Confused, I froze. Then his phone rang again. I saw the pic of the caller. It's a woman. Seems a little familiar. As the phone rang, he yelled at me to get out again. I quickly opened the door and fell to the ground. He drove away immediately. I sobbed out to my sister on the phone, and through my fear, I tried explaining what had just happened. With my shaking hands, I managed to share my location with her. Then I walked to try and find some place with bright lights to wait for her. I was in total panic mode until I got home. As I calmed down a bit, I started to put things together and wondered why he did this to me. And then it came to my mind that the caller was the woman in the black luxury car I saw that afternoon. Then this means it all had something to do with Ian. Is it because she thought I was Ian's girlfriend or something? But when she found out I wasn't, she ordered my release? If Ian has something to do with this, then that means Liv could now be in danger. Should I warn her, or is it now that traitor's problem, not mine? I'm mad with her, but I don't want anything bad to happen to her. I don't know what this is all about. What should I do now?
Hey guys, my name is Jim, and when it comes to getting the girls, well, I'm a girl magnet. It's quite easy to understand because basically, I'm so handsome, cool, and humorous. Being the hunk that I am means I'm pretty well known amongst the other students, and of course, my love experiences have been a little on the complicated side. In all my love stories, I never start first, but then I suppose this is the way I like it. I don't do the chasing, the girls chase me. My last girlfriend was Kate, who I was with for 2 months. Our relationship was fun, but I always say that once it gets kind of boring, then hey, just stop. There's nothing wrong with Kate, but she was so possessive that she got me annoyed, so I broke up with her. She seemed upset and demanded to know what she did wrong. She cried and called me a jerk. Why'd she have to overreact like this? We were together because we had fun and now no fun anymore, so we stopped. It's not a big deal. Now I was single again, I began my search for a new girlfriend. My college friend Kimmel had a birthday party. It was there I first met Clara. Now, talk about her. She's really attractive, but was always so mysterious. I longed to learn everything about her, so I asked her out, but she said no. No one had ever turned me down before. It just made me want her even more. She made me crazy, and I knew I had to succeed at conquering her, whatever the cost. After a couple of weeks trying with all my flirting expertise, I sent her cute messages, flowers, funny memes. She eventually agreed to go on a date with me to the park. However, we did nothing but hold hands, and trust me, it wasn't for my lack of trying. I leaned in for a kiss, and she moved away from me. This just wasn't acceptable for a lady killer like me. The next time I saw Kimmel, he found it hilarious to mention Clara and my failure. This annoyed me, especially as I hadn't told him that we hadn't kissed yet, as it was exactly something I wanted to shout about. How did he seem to know everything? He might be laughing now, but I had a date with Clara that night, and I planned on kissing her and more, and he wouldn't be laughing at me then. Then Kimmel went out to pick up some parcels. He left his phone on the table, and being the curious guy I am, when it buzzed, I glanced at the notification that popped up on the screen. Tonight, 8 p.m. at Astor Theater. You have to help me to ensure that nothing will happen between them. Okay, so this was weird, especially as this was the exact time and place I was meant to be dating Clara later. I looked at the sender's name, Mark, an unfamiliar boy. Many questions popped into my mind, but I didn't want to ask Kimmel because no doubt he'd try and wiggle his way out of it with lies. I needed to play it cool and investigate. Feeling uneasy, I messaged Clara and canceled our date. I came back home and tried to search the name Mark in the friends list of Kimmel on all social networks, but found nothing. What the hell? Who is Mark? Why did he know everything about us? I decided to find Clara and ask her all about it. The next morning I arrived at Clara's without telling her, and you know what? I found her outside her house kissing another boy. I rushed over to her and shouted, "Clara, what the hell are you doing?" She was so frightened and the strange boy just ran away. But she said that they were just friends and nothing happened between them. I was extremely angry and wanted to get her out of my life. But I thought I loved this girl. And this drove me crazy. But wait, I suddenly realized something. I found the boy at Clara's familiar. Maybe I had met him somewhere. Oh, Mark, exactly. It was him. I remembered. He was a feeble boy at my middle school. All my memories about him were the images of a timid and dull boy who always followed what my friends and I said. I remember there was one time I cut his long, girl-like hair for fun with the reason of making him more manly. But why was my friend Kimmel in on it? Longing for answers, I drove to Kimmel's house, but seeing his smug face made me so angry, so I punched him. Then when he was lying on the floor, I shouted at him. "Why'd you do that to me? You're my friend. Why'd you have to set me up?" He got up, hit me back, and insulted me. "You deserve it. The kind of trashy guy like you needs to know the feeling of shame and betrayal when being played with affections. You had to bear what you did to Kate." So, this was all about Kate. I knew Kimmel used to date her, but they were already broken up before I and Kate started dating, so why did he blame me for that? Kimmel continued. "Don't blame anyone. Not me, not Mark, not anyone else. You had it coming." It turns out that Kimmel and Mark were friends since high school. and they were planning to lure me into their trap, of course, with the help of Clara, Mark's girlfriend. It all made sense now. The people I trusted betrayed me. But maybe it's true. I deserved it. I decided to stop everything there. However, the next day, Clara came to my apartment and told me the truth. She said she initially just wanted to help her boyfriend get revenge on me, but after that, she realized that she liked me. And I really like her too, I just don't know how I could believe her anymore, so I told her to come back home. After that incident, I stopped talking to them all and tried moving on. I think it'd be better for me not to have a girlfriend or date anyone for a certain amount of time. I need time to refresh myself and think about all that's happened. It's been 3 months till now, and then today, Clara unexpectedly came to see me and said that she broke up with Mark because she couldn't stop thinking about me. She looks honest, and my heart flutters. Honestly saying, I still care about her. But I'm really confused. I don't know what to do now. Does she really like me, or is this all a game to her? I know I've been a jerk to girls in the past, but I thought it was different with Clara. Man, I just don't know what to do next.
Hey, I'm Saskia, and I'm a college student. I live with my roomie Ellie. She's fun at times, but other times, she can be super serious. Also, more often than not, it feels like she's completely attached to her annoying boyfriend Brett, as I'm always walking in on them kissing. So gross. But thanks to them, I got the chance to be around my crush. Then I myself somehow ruined it. I love rom-coms. Like, really love them. So naturally, when this amazing-looking rom-com hit the cinemas, I wanted to see it on its release date. At first, Ellie agreed to go and see it with me, but then the day before, she canceled on me. This made me mad, as she'd promised me. So I trailed after her around our house and kept on nagging her about it while she was trying to cook, study, and talk on the phone to Brett. All of my nagging paid off, as she eventually caved and agreed to come, but only on the condition that Brett came too. This sucked, as I didn't like him to be there at all. Besides, I didn't want to play gooseberry to these two. I mean, talk about awkward. I moaned at her for ruining our girls' night and told her she was a lame friend. Then she suggested that Brett's friend Trent could come too. Trent would go! He's my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I mean, cuteness level? 10 out of 10. I have already seen him a couple of times at school and secretly admired him, though she didn't know about it. I was so excited about meeting Trent properly, so I spent ages doing my hair and makeup, and I put on this really cute dress. Probably that was the longest duration I spent in front of the mirror in my entire life. I wanted to impress him. Then maybe he could become my boyfriend, and I'd have my very own happy ending. Ellie and I showed up at the theater before them. Time ticked by, and I remained glued to the entrance. When it comes to plans, I'm always the punctual one. I hate it when someone's late. I mean, it's not hard to be on time. Jeez, they were almost half an hour late. What's wrong with them? I was mad. Super mad. Anger built up inside of me. I'm surprised steam didn't come out of my ears. But then, suddenly, Brett and Trent walked through the entrance. And just a second, all my anger vanished. Trent was wearing a navy shirt, my fave color, and looking so damn hot. My anger instantly melted, and I found myself smiling over at him. He said, "Sorry we're late. It's the traffic, and when we were coming." Before he could complete, I blurted out, "It's okay." Ellie gave me a strange look and was about to say something, but I hit her arm to stop her. She knew how much lateness bugged me. The boys mentioned they were hungry, so we went to get food. I was so hungry, my stomach was gurgling, but I didn't want to look greedy in front of him. The two lovebirds walked holding hands in front, leaving us behind. We walked in silence. I wanted to talk and not miss a chance to stare at his face, but as I didn't want to appear desperate, I chose to keep quiet. Just then, my stomach gurgled really loudly, but he acted like he hadn't heard. He was so sweet. Everyone else ordered puffs. But have you tried eating those without spreading them all over your lip? I was trying to impress Trent, not scare him off. So, to stay on the safe side, I ordered the potato bhaji, and I only ate 2, although I'm a big foodie. During the movie, Ellie and Brett occupied the corner seats, so I sat next to Mr. Cutie. The movie started, and they got into action. I was not eavesdropping, but I couldn't help but hear some weird noises coming from them. Trent smiled at me. I guess he heard them too. OMG. His dimples! You know, I have a thing for dimples. He looked even more handsome in the dim lights. Whenever a romantic scene came, I pictured me and him. I knew I had to slow down, but I couldn't. Everything was going well when suddenly a very bad smell crawled into my nose. It was not bad, but disgusting. Worse than a rotten egg. Yeah, it was the smell of a fart. Our row had only 4 seats, and it was evident that someone among us had done the crime. It was so embarrassing. Worse still, my eyes teared up due to the stench. We all passed weird glances between us. Then Ellie said, "Be frank. Who dealt it?" I replied, "Accept it, Yar. I know who it is." She replied, "What is the proof?" And I said, "You're always doing it at home." She blushed bright red, and Brett laughed out loud. I never miss a chance to embarrass her. Little did I know, I had to pay such a huge price for this. She grinned at me, then said, "Well, everyone knows who ate potatoes today." Talk about embarrassing. Everyone, except me, obviously, laughed. And out of them all, Trent was the one who laughed the most. For the rest of the movie, Trent would look at me and laugh. Even more annoyingly, the fart culprit remained a mystery. Then, when we were on the way out of the cinema, I dropped my lipstick on the floor and had to bend down to pick it up. A big fart came out from me! Everyone in this world could hear it. And yep, including Trent, who was standing right behind me. They all laughed, and I just stood there, mortified. Worse still, they must think that the previous fart belonged to me too. But no! My fart didn't even have a smell. It was just like fresh air, and could be totally normal with no realization if it didn't sound like a bomb. That was the most awkward moment in my entire life. There was no way Trent would like me now. This sucked. As soon as I got home, I rushed up to my room and stayed there. I didn't want to see Ellie all smug. I didn't want to see anyone ever again. That night, I just lay on my bed and stared at the ceiling, concerned about how my life would go. Due to a nonsense fart, my crush had laughed at me, probably now hated me, and thought I was a loser. Now we could never be in a relationship together, or marry and have kids. Talk about a life ruiner! I'd end up some crazy cat lady, or even worse, stuck with this weird nerd at my college called Carson, the only person in this world who could ever like me. A message suddenly came. My heart flipped. It was from Trent. "Is your stomach okay?" This was so embarrassing. Would I ever live it down? "It's not funny, smiley face," I messaged back. Then, to my surprise, he replied with, "I just want to ask you out tomorrow. I have 2 tickets. It's a horror movie." Oh, damn. Not the cinema again. Was this a joke? Was he trying to humiliate me again? The cinema staff would remember my face, as I was the girl who created a bomb fart that everyone in the vicinity heard. I made up some excuse about having to study. This sucked, as it was a horror movie, and I know I just missed the chance to be a little weak cat in his arms. But what else could I do? To back up my story, I spent Saturday in the library. Yes, I know, talk about lame. This was so awful. It was a sunny day, but for sure, I had to pretend like I was super busy on something, in case him and my roomie ever talked and found out that I was just wrapping myself in my blanket feeling ashamed about my 2 farts. I sat down and flicked through a book, when Carson came and sat next to me. Yep, the nerd. He smiled at me, and I didn't want to be rude, so I smiled back. Suddenly, I heard a voice. "So here you are. Crazy busy with another guy?" It was Mr. Cutie himself, Trent. Turns out, he'd shown up with lunch and a coffee for me. I tried explaining to him that I didn't even know Carson that well. That's when Carson smiled over at me, grabbed my hand, then said, "We spend every Saturday together at the library, and now we're official." I sat there, frozen. This was madness. By the time I realized Carson was still holding my hand and pulled it away, it was too late, as Trent had stormed off. Then, messages continuously popped up from my friends. You're with Carson? You guys are dating in the library? Seriously? I saw your picture. Carson the nerd posted it on Instagram with, "Studying on Saturday with my love." I checked my social media. Yep, Carson had just tagged me in a post with him. Now, as well as being the fart girl, Trent now also thinks I'm some sort of lying floozy. This is so not the case. I just want my happily ever after with him. Now what am I meant to do? Hey, it's Saskia, back again to tell you all about my not-so-successful love life. It started during a movie trip with my roomie Ellie, her annoying boyfriend Brett, and his dreamy friend Trent. Swoon! During the movie, someone let out a huge fart, and I ended up being blamed for it. Then, to make it worse, on leaving the cinema, I actually did fart in front of everyone. I thought I'd blown it with Trent, literally. So when he asked me out on a date, my embarrassment made me turn him down, and instead, I went to the library to study. Only while I was there, Trent appeared and saw me with my classmate Carson and came to the wrong conclusion. Worse still, now Carson seems to like me. Now my life's a mess, and Trent isn't talking to me. So, after an evening spent watching way too many cheesy romance films and consuming far too much ice cream, I realized that my self-pity parade wasn't the answer. I mean, talk about tragedy. I just couldn't hide away. No, I had to hold my head up high and be as resilient as the characters from my favorite rom-coms were. So, the next day at college, I forced myself to look nice and smile as I trailed after Ellie and Brett. Ugh. Seeing as Brett was friends with Trent, I thought it'd be easier to get Brett to explain to him that nothing was going on between me and Carson. Why don't you tell him yourself? Brett rolled his eyes. No, I wasn't going to tell him that. I was too nervous to meet him. Why do I have to explain to him directly? You just act like I care about him. I blurted out to cover my embarrassment. And at that very moment, Trent appeared from nowhere. His uncomfortable face made it known that he'd heard everything. Then Brett smirked and said, "Looks like I don't have to explain about Carson to Trent anymore. But would you like me to explain with him about your big loud fart the other night?" I stood there, mortified. I knew Brett was a jerk, but did he really have to bring the fart situation up now? Now everyone was looking at me like I was a comedian. For the rest of the day, I tried to keep a low-key. This was all Carson's fault. Why did he have to act like we were a couple? I needed to find him and tell him straight out that he was delusional. Only I couldn't find him in class, the library, or anywhere else in college. So following Ellie's suggestion, at my lunchtime in the canteen, I messaged him saying, "Why did you say all that stuff?" After a while, he answered, "I want to impress you, 'cause I think that I kinda like you." He's gotta be kidding me! I spoke out loud at the same time as I stood up from my seat, without recalling that I was in the middle of a busy canteen. Oh, great. Now people looked at me like a weird person. Again, just in one day. I wanted to yell out, "Nope! People, you've all got the wrong idea. The weird person here isn't me. It's the guy texting me right now." But getting back to reality, I sat down and mumbled sorry to everyone for my extra behavior. For real, if you like me, you should pursue me in the right way. Don't do such silly things like that, I wrote back. I thought that would be the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. The messages from Carson didn't end. Instead, he bombarded me with questions, such as what's my favorite hobby, my favorite color, food I liked. At first, I ignored the messages, but then he messaged me. "I just want to be friends and learn more about you, as I truly care about you. If you want me to stop, then I will." Okay, so I felt kinda bad for him. As needy as Carson could be, he was a nice enough guy who didn't deserve the silent treatment, so I began messaging him back. And with Trent, things between us were terrible anyway. He basically acted like I didn't exist, and whenever he hung out with the others and I, he just scrolled through his phone so he didn't have to make eye contact with me. Talk about annoying! One day, tension between us even worsened. That time, I was sitting on the college lawn with the three of them, Trent, Brett, and Ellie, and Trent was ignoring me as usual, when out of nowhere, a girl appeared and angrily approached us. We all looked at Brett, as, let's face it, out of all of us, he was the most likely to mess up. But then the girl yelled at me. "You're a bad person, Saskia. You stole Carson from me." She also added that she used to be Carson's girlfriend, but not anymore because Carson liked me. Ugh! What was going on? I didn't like Carson, I said, but she was assertive that her Carson was too good to reject. Except that I had a boyfriend already. Before I had a chance to think up a reply, Brett said, "Besides Carson, who else can like Saskia?" Right. Brett and his rude comment again, which made me want to kick him straight to the ground. I snapped back at him. For your information, there's a very handsome guy chasing me, and maybe someday I will accept him. As I finished speaking, I was startled as Trent suddenly stormed off. OMG! That was so terrible. Now Trent thought I had someone else. Ugh! Why was my life such a mess? Then, to make it worse, about 1 week later, I walked out of class to see this pretty girl in the hall called Amy. She was flirting with Trent. Right in front of my eyes! Jeez! Why were there so many people interfering with our love story? Ellie and Brett, who had no sensitivity about my feelings, adding the mess Carson and his ex left to me, now a girl wanted to steal Trent? Clearly, if it wasn't me, no one could help us. I needed to talk to Trent, without actually talking to him, as I sucked at doing this. So, taking inspiration from the genre of love, I decided to write a soppy letter. Yeah, you may say it's old-fashioned, but I say it's romantic. I was so absorbed in thought while I was walking to the lecture that I bumped into someone and dropped the letter in my hand. It was Amy, and she helped me pick it up. She saw Trent's name, and even a heart sign beside it. Cringe. Then she looked at me for a moment and said, I feel sorry for you, but I have to tell you that Trent has a girlfriend. What? I'm sure my heart actually sunk. Amy told me that she'd asked Trent out, and he'd turned her down because he liked someone else. I pictured Trent being all lovey-dovey with some other girl, and it made me feel so jealous. Naturally, I couldn't face my next lecture, so I skipped it and went home, with my undelivered love letter stuffed to the bottom of my bag. Later on that night, I went for a long walk to clear my head. That's when Carson messaged me. Why didn't you tell me that you have someone else? Why choose him? Why not me? Clearly, Carson's crazy ex had told him what I said. I wasn't in the mood for his messages right now. He'd caused me enough trouble. So I sent a clear message about my feelings. I lied. There's no other guy. Actually, I have one-sided feelings for Trent. I'm sorry. Carson didn't reply to me after that. Then Ellie called me, insisting I come to a party. Brett even yelled on the phone that I had to come because they were too wasted. It wasn't like I had anything better to do, so I searched for the location Ellie sent me. As soon as I was at the front of the house, I felt so confused, as the house seemed too quiet for a party. Had Ellie sent me the wrong location? I mean, she didn't sound super drunk. Then the door opened. OMG. It was Trent! He walked out and asked me to follow him inside. The lighting was very dim, and no one was here. He took me to the middle of the kitchen, where I saw a small disco ball hang in the room ceiling. Suddenly, he took my hand in his hand, looked straight at me, and said the 3 words I never expected to hear from him. I like you. OMG. Did Trent really like me, or was I being pranked right now? My hand was trembling, and my silly thoughts even made me look around to see if anyone was hiding. But then he grinned at me. I guess you're stunned. But you should prepare for my next confession. He told me that Carson was his childhood friend. Carson teased Trent in the library because he knew Trent's feelings for me, but he didn't expect it to backfire. And to apologize, Carson offered to help Trent pursue me. First, Trent could pretend to be Carson to text and learn more about me. Then, to escalate the process, Carson asked a friend to pretend to be his ex, forcing me to speak out my feelings. Trent was so despaired by my response, so he decided to impersonate Carson one last time and sent that message to me, where he found out that I liked him. Immediately, Trent asked Ellie and Brett to help him out. Wow, this plan was definitely not normal, but the way he nervously admitted everything to me somehow made my heart flutter. I nodded my head as a sign of me forgiving him. Thanks, he smiled back. I saw his face in the middle of the dim flickering lights approaching mine slowly. This was it. Our first kiss was going to happen. But then I heard a great big fart. What? Brett, Ellie, and Carson appeared in the front door. They were all laughing hysterically, and Brett was holding a fart machine and said, "Well, it's about time you two got together." Trent shooed them off. Then smiling, he said to me, "Let's try that again, shall we?" I nodded, and we kissed. Talk about butterflies! And that's how I ended up with the cutest boyfriend ever. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. My story hasn't finished yet, because that night when I returned home, I received a message from Trent telling me that he was the one who made the first fart in the cinema that time. He said sorry to me, but he was too embarrassed to admit it right away. Really? This was a shocker, but also hilarious. As if our story could become so complicated just because of a very simple thing. Moreover, if that day both me and Trent farted at the cinema, wasn't that our destiny?
Hi everyone, Jack here. I'm 17 and I live with my mom, dad, and sis. We're pretty much a normal family. I suppose I do okay at school. I'm not super popular or anything, as I am a little on the shy side, but I'm not unpopular either. I'm really good at sports studies, and I definitely want to pursue this further when I go to college and stuff. Anyway, I want to tell you about my best friend Danny, and the girl of my dreams, Amy. I first met Danny at the age of 10. We were both at the local pool, and back then, I was energetic and, well, I did a lot of stuff without thinking it through. I started splashing about in the pool, and soon I realized I couldn't put my feet on the ground. I couldn't swim, so yeah, this was bad. I began to panic and tried shouting out for help, but a load of water ended up in my mouth. Then Danny appeared and helped me over to the shallow end. Turns out he was new to town and was starting at the same school that I went to. After that, we became best friends. Danny's this effortlessly cool, stylish, and handsome guy. He was always more popular than me, and all the girls liked him, but still, he chose to be friends with me. Being around him was great fun. We hung out, played football, and goofed around. There's this girl from school called Amy. She's popular and beautiful. She always wears these pretty dresses, and well, she just stands out. Problem is, I wasn't the only one to notice this. Practically every boy at school had a crush on her. I didn't think I stood a chance with her, but then the school picnic happened. I ended up in the same group as her, so I went over to her and tried to talk. I felt so nervous that I couldn't get any words out. Then I tripped over a branch and accidentally fell into her arms. In that moment, I imagined we looked into each other's eyes and she could see how much I liked her. Then we'd kiss and date and marry and live happily ever after. But yeah, that wasn't reality. In real life, I was stiff as a log and was so embarrassed. I quickly snapped out of it, got up and muttered out, "Sorry." She giggled and said, "No problem. I hope you didn't hurt yourself." Amazingly, we started chatting after that. Things quickly changed between Amy and me. We talked a lot on Messenger, and I often sat with her at lunch. She was so fun to be around, and I loved spending time with her. Then we started dating. I often had to pinch myself to convince myself that yes, I really was dating the most beautiful girl in school. We both loved nature, so we often spent our weekends going for walks and exploring new places. Our first kiss happened in my room. We were meant to be working on our science project, but I couldn't stop staring at her. She was just so beautiful. So I leaned over and kissed her. It was like fireworks were going off around us. Talk about magical. After that, we became pretty much inseparable. I often went out to restaurants with her family, and she regularly came over for dinner with mine. Things were amazing. She was my princess. With her around, I felt so happy, and I couldn't imagine my life without her in it. Then one night, she texted me, "I love you." This made me smile, and I sent back, "I love you too, Amy." Then, to my surprise, she messaged back, "What is love anyway?" I didn't understand what she meant, but before I can send another message asking this, she sent me a video of her with Danny, my best friend Danny. Then she messaged me, "This is what real love looks like." Couldn't believe what I just saw. I immediately threw my phone across the room. I was so heartbroken. How could she do this to me, and with my best friend? I cried days and nights. It was horrible. I felt like I'd never be happy again. I rarely cry, so my family was really worried and tried every way to console me, but nothing they said or did could cheer me up. Worse still, I was dreading going back to school and having to see them together. They didn't make it easy for me. As soon as I got to my locker, I saw them there, kissing. Word got around that they were very much in love. So much for her ever loving me. It hurt so much. Danny didn't seem to bother that he'd hurt me. That's the problem with Danny. He doesn't think sometimes. He just goes after what he wants without a care for who he stomps on in the process. Plus, we weren't as close as before anymore. Ever since high school started, he'd been hanging out with some bad guy. I told him that Amy was a liar and that she would soon go off him, but he just shrugged and said, "Whatever." I know you're probably wondering why I stayed friends with Danny after what he did. I guess I'm too nice, but I just couldn't break our 7-year relationship over this. It was bad enough I'd lost the love of my life. I couldn't afford to lose my best friend too. Yes, I felt betrayed and angry, But Amy had made her choice, and it wasn't me. Then one night I was on my way home on the metro. The only free seat was next to Amy, so I sat down next to her. At first it was awkward, and neither of us spoke. Then I asked her, "Why did you cheat on me?" She replied, "Well, Danny's the richest, most popular, and best-looking guy in school. I only used you to get closer to him." This was horrible to hear. I was so mad that I chose to stand for the rest of the journey back. The next day I tried telling Danny what Amy had said. He told me I was just being jealous, shoved me, and yelled at me that I needed to stop being so bitter. We didn't talk for 2 weeks after that. I felt so lonely, but it turns out neither Danny nor Amy were the people I thought they were. Danny tried calling, but I ignored his calls. He also sent me some lame apology messages, but I didn't reply. Then one day, he showed up on my doorstep, gave me chocolate, and asked me to go for a walk in the woods with him. I took my GoPro with me. As I said before, I love nature. I always film the scenery on my walks. I asked him if he truly loved Amy, and to my surprise, he said that girls were like chewing gum. You had to chew till the end and then spit them out. He said he would use Amy one last time, then finish with her, then let his friends have her. Then he would move to another city and do it all over again. This was shocking to hear. I knew he could be reckless, but I didn't think the boy who saved my life when we were 10 was capable of being so cruel. I told him I never wanted to talk to him again, and I stormed off. My GoPro had been recording the whole time, so it was about time I took revenge on my shattered heart, wasn't it? Thing is, as mean as Amy has been, I still care about her. I thought about it a lot, and eventually decided that she deserved to know the truth, so I sent her the recording. Even after seeing it, she made out I'd edited it to make Danny sound bad, as I was just jealous. I knew that her parents thought she was so sweet and innocent, so I told her that if she didn't split up with Danny, I'd send them the video clip. She tried to resist at first, but soon she gave up and begged me not to show it to them. I later found out that she'd continued to see Danny in secret for weeks after that, but eventually, she saw the dark side to him. She even came up to me at school and thanked me for trying to help her, and apologized for hurting me. I didn't try to save her from Danny because I was feeling sympathetic toward her or anything like that. Instead, I believe that witnessing a crime is as bad as committing it. I guess that as mean as Amy had been to me, I didn't want to see her hurt, especially not by that jerk. Actually, after that, she's even reached out to me once and asked me to be her boyfriend again. But of course, I wasn't a fool. A leopard can't change its spots, so I made it clear to her that my answer was and would always be no, and that we should just stay friends. While me and Danny, we aren't friends anymore. I have other friends, but it's hard, as a part of me does still miss him, but I don't like the person he's become. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope that you guys don't go through what I did, but if you do, I hope you find the strength to do the right thing, however hard this may be.
Hi, my name's Kat, which is short for Catherine, but only my mom calls me that. My dad's Indian, and my mom's American. They met back when he was working over here. Then they fell in love, got married, and had me. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and they split up before I was born. In India, when you marry, it's meant to be for life. But still, my parents got divorced, so the reason for that must have been really serious. So serious that till this day, I still don't know. Every time I asked about it, my parents would just ignore me and change the subject. Anyway, I've always lived with my mom, but my dad lives close by. Most kids from broken homes hate not having both parents around all the time, but this never bothered me. Don't get me wrong, I love my dad and all, but I guess I couldn't miss what I didn't know. Besides, I had far bigger problems to deal with. Okay, so don't laugh, hear me out. I'm a tomboy, a fact which my mom hates. Yep, I detest wearing skirts and dresses, or anything girly and sparkly. Yuck! Give me basketball shorts and a baggy t-shirt any day. Also, I don't understand why some girls spend ages doing their makeup. Why would I want to make myself look like some living doll just to impress people? Please. I didn't get on that well with other girls. I guess I just had nothing in common with them. I didn't care about shopping and watching rom-coms. Nope. I'd much rather be kicking a ball around or playing video games. My best friend's a boy called Harry, and I've known him for forever. He's the one who taught me how to ride a skateboard. Talk about an adrenaline buzz. now I pretty much go everywhere on one. I'm like a real-life Bart Simpson. For my whole life, my mom's given me disapproving looks. From the time when I only invited boys to my 6th birthday party, tore the arms off the dolls she gave me, and point-blank refused to move when she booked me in for ballet classes. I just wasn't a tea time with dolls and teddy bears kind of girl, and I didn't understand why she couldn't just buy me trucks and action figures instead. Then on top of that, Mom only dressed me up in skirts and dresses. I had no option but to wear them and endure school feeling so uncomfortable. I mean, have you tried playing soccer in a frilly dress? Talk about ridiculous. The other boys always had to wait for me to straighten out my skirt or try and find the hairpins that kept tumbling out of my hair. I mean, seriously, those things were so lame. By the time I reached 12, I was done wearing girly clothes just to please my mom, so I wore comfy, passed-down clothes that I got from my cousins beneath the hideous dresses and took them off en route to school. I was also so sick of my long, boring hair, so one day I snuck into the barber's after school and got an undercut. Then one evening, I was chilling on the couch when Mom pointed at my hair and in a horrified voice said, "Catherine, what have you done to yourself?" I hadn't realized the way I was lying meant some of my undercut was on show. I just shrugged and replied, "It's my hair, so I can do what I want with it." "Why would you want to make yourself look ugly?" she shouted. "It's not ugly. It's cool." My mom looked so shocked. She grounded me for a month, and during that time, she barely spoke to me. The quarreling didn't end there. Over the next few years, it seemed like every little thing I did annoyed her. From chewing on gum to refusing to wear a dress to my cousin's wedding, you name it, it made her mad. On loads of occasions, she shouted at me that she wished I was normal. I didn't get it. My friends and teachers didn't treat me like I was an alien. So why did my mom? One time, when I was about to leave and go and skateboard with Harry, she actually accused me of being a lesbian. I just rolled my eyes at this. For the record, I'm not. I've had crushes on boys before. Anyway, my dad was a lot more chilled than Mom. He's totally okay with me being a tomboy. One time, he even sent me a gift box with this really cool sports jersey and shorts in it. I stuck it in my wardrobe to hide it from Mom, but she still managed to find it and threw it all in the trash. As I questioned her why she did that, she replied, "If you want to live like a boy that much, you should move in with your dad." This made me so mad, so I packed a bag and went to Dad's place. He was bugged out by what my mom had done, but still, he told me I should forgive her and that I couldn't live here for good with him, as he couldn't be home all the time and take care of me like Mom did. Yeah, right. More like he knew Mom would never let this happen. It's like she hated me, but she still wanted me around so she had someone to moan at. I stayed with Dad for a few days until he had to go on a business trip. Then I had to reluctantly go home, though I was still kind of sulky at my mom. Then came the bombshell as I just arrived home. Mom sat me down and told me that she was dating some new guy called Max. Wow. I knew Mom and I weren't close, but I had no idea she'd been dating some new dude. "We're planning the wedding, and of course I want you to be my bridesmaid, but you'll have to wear a dress." What? She'd known the guy for 5 minutes, and now she was marrying him? "Yeah, whatever," I replied. My mom looked surprised. "That's all? You seriously have no problem with this?" I got up and walked upstairs to my room while saying, "Yeah, Mom, I'm okay with it. I support you doing what you like, not like you who always scolds me for my preferences." I could sense my mom being flustered without looking back. Ha! I'd won this round. So, Max moved in with his teenage daughter, Taylor, who's a year younger than me and goes to the same school. Talk about a Barbie. All she seems to be is a mass of shiny blonde hair and pink everything. Like, seriously, her rucksack, bed covers, curtains, even her phone's pink. But it's fine. Everyone has their own taste, so, whatever. Actually, it turns out that this new addition to the family wasn't as bad as I thought. Max is an okay guy who never looks down on me or comments on my tomboy ways. And about my mom, her focus towards me decreased. I was basically invisible to her, now she had Taylor around. You think I'd be mad jealous, huh? Actually, no. Not at all. I was glad of the peace. But then Mom started comparing me to that brat, saying how I should be more like her as we were both girls, but I acted like a little demon. What? Taylor was so pathetic. She screamed when she saw a roach in the kitchen and refused to get down from the worktop until it had been removed. Don't even get me started on how she acted like she couldn't reach the top shelves in the school's library, so other boys had to help her. Ugh, sickening. Then things got heated when Taylor stormed into my room and asked me to come down for dinner. Well, I probably was playing my music too loudly to hear her knocking on my door, but still, she wasn't welcome here. Then she took a quick look around my room. Okay, I'm not exactly the most organized person, but I know exactly where things are. I asked her, "What are you gawping at?" "Nothing," she bluffed. "Hey, why don't we go to the mall tomorrow? Let's go buy something cute. I need new clothes, and looks like you could use some help too." "I'm good, thanks. Crop tops aren't really my style. I'm not that much of a tryhard." I smirked at her. "Oh, please. You wish you were like me. Look at yourself. You have the sense of fashion of a 5-year-old boy. That's so childish. Who wears cargo pants anymore? Beats being a flamboyant ugly duckling who hides behind a zillion layers of pink glitter and foundation. Well, at least this ugly duckling will soon become a swan. But you're stuck being a nobody forever. No wonder Mom hates you." I stared at her with hatred. Who was she to judge me in my own house? I needed to teach this brat a lesson. I charged towards her and yanked back her hair. She yelled at me to stop. Then at that moment, my mother appeared and shouted at me, "Catherine, stop this at once! You need to grow up." "Me?" I shouted back. "She just told me you don't love me." "Well, she has a point. No one could love someone who acts like this. Look in the mirror. Taylor only said what we're all thinking. You're 17 already, for God's sakes. Grow up a little and give me a break." What was Mom saying? She was taking the side of some random girl that only just moved in over her actual daughter? Great. There's zero use fighting with these close-minded morons. I let go of Taylor and pushed her and my mom out of my room, screaming at them, "Fine! You two go and live happily ever after in your pink, fake, girly world." Then I slammed the door in their dumb faces. I was so done with them. I was so done with everything. Hey, it's me, Kat. I'm back to fill you in on the next part of my drama-filled life. So, me and my mom have never got on that well. She hates my tomboy ways and wishes I was a girl. So when her new fiancé Max moved in with his Barbie doll daughter Taylor, well, my mom instantly loved her more than me. During an argument, she even told me that she couldn't love someone like me and that I should grow up. How could my mom say that to my face? And especially in front of that little brat Taylor. I was so angry that I shut myself in my room that night and skipped dinner. But then, around 3 a.m., my stomach wouldn't quit growling, so I snuck down to the kitchen, and surprise, surprise, there was no leftover food for me at all. Great. Clearly, they didn't view me as a part of this family anymore, and wanted me to starve to death. I couldn't fall back asleep after that. So as soon as the sun came up, I called my best friend Harry up early. He answered the phone half asleep. "What?" I told him to rise and shine, as I needed saving from my nightmare of a home life. Oh, and I also told him to bring food. He muttered out "Yeah, fine." At least leaving early meant I wouldn't have to face Mom and Taylor. As soon as I got into Harry's car, he threw me a sandwich and asked what was wrong. And I told him how Taylor's basically Nightmare Barbie. He grinned at me. "Yeah? What'd she do? Steal all your food?" Trust him to make a joke out of my distress. Anyways, I told him everything that had happened while munching on the sandwich. He replied, "Come on, Kat. Like you're gonna let some 16-year-old get the better of you? How about I come over after school and suss out the situation? I'll fight off this kid for you." I jokingly replied, "Okay. I guess that might help keep the peace, as for some reason my mom seems to like you." So Harry came around, and naturally, my mom was all over him, telling him how handsome he is and demanding he stay for dinner, Talk about cringe! Then I had to listen to Mom telling him how she didn't understand me and how he should talk some sense into me. Hello? I was still in the room. Then Taylor arrived home all shiny-haired and girly. I swear my mom's face lit up just by seeing her. And worse still, so did Harry's. Ugh! Oh, Harry, have you met Taylor? Kat's sister. She goes to the same school as you guys.
Hi, Taylor. I've definitely seen you around, but I didn't know you were Kat's sister. She wouldn't tell me.
He elbowed me while being all smiley to her. In that whiny voice of hers, Taylor replied, "Nice to meet you, Harry. Are you Kat's boyfriend?" We all burst out laughing. Then my mom chimed in, "Honey, I wish, but no. Your sister seems to be allergic to love. But you two would make a lovely couple." What on earth? They both laughed, and Harry replied,
I'd love to, but such a pretty girl like Taylor wouldn't lay an eye on me.
"Great. Thanks, Harry." As if Taylor isn't big-headed enough. I slyly kicked Harry's leg and gave him a dirty look. After dinner, me and Harry went to play video games in my room. As soon as I closed the door, he told me that Taylor seemed all right. Was he blinded by her Barbie looks or something? I was so mad that I slammed down my game's controller and told him he sucked. Ugh! Why did everyone treat me like such a joke? So, what if I didn't dress up girly? I still had feelings. They knew nothing about me. I actually had a huge crush on this boy at school called Garrett. He was on the boys' soccer team, and he was so talented. I totally swooned out loud when he scored 3 goals in a row. I usually didn't like jocks. As a member of the girls' soccer team, our teams often trained together, and I had to put up with them showing off to impress girls, while in reality, they couldn't actually play, and they skipped practice all the time to go partying. Garrett was different. He totally shined amongst those useless guys. I took the initiative to talk to him. Turns out, Garrett and I had loads in common. We instantly clicked and talked non-stop about soccer, skateboarding, and other stuff. Okay, so there was one problem. He seemed to be interested in the cheerleader type of girl. Once he even admitted his celebrity crush was Selena Gomez. Yeah, I know. She's as girly as you can get. That got me thinking a lot. I definitely wouldn't change who I was, but maybe a little makeover wouldn't hurt, right? I told Harry about it, and he just told me it was stupid, and he wasn't really supportive, which was strange for him, but whatever. So Harry worked evenings and weekends at the burger joint in the mall. I knew it was just so he could check out the girls going into the clothes shop opposite. I knew if I was going to win Garrett's heart, then I'd need to change my style, so I started visiting Harry more often at work. I'd sit there munching on free fries while watching the girly girls shop, so I could get the gist of the in trends and stuff. Then I stole my mom's lip gloss and some glittery eyeshadow and put it on for school. I even started wearing this plaid purple skirt Mom bought for me. I mean, at least it was sort of edgy, right? Though I had nothing other than my collection of oversized tees to go with it, but whatever. It was girly enough. OMG. Wearing a skirt is hard work. I couldn't run as fast or jump up to grab something off the top shelf. I also kept on forgetting I was wearing a skirt and sitting with my legs apart. Oops. My plan was working, though, as Garrett started sitting with me and Harry at lunch. Oh, and one time when I was struggling to run in a skirt, he passed me his jacket to tie around my waist. It gets even better. He invited me to his soccer team party. OMG! Talk about hitting the jackpot. This meant he liked me, right? That was it. I decided that the party will be my grand finale. I'd get a total makeover and confess my feelings to him while there. Finally, the day of the party arrived, so I put my awesome plan into action. Okay, so Mom's lousy makeup just wasn't cutting it, so I went into the drugstore and used up the testers. I even packed a pair of Mom's high heels with me. Now all I needed was a dress. Obviously, I wasn't going to buy one for keeps. No, I'd wear them for the party and return it the next day. All of my spying taught me one thing. Floral print was the in thing right now. So I bought this flowy floral dress in my size and went to the mall restrooms to try it on, so I had more privacy. I put the high heels on and zipped up the dress, but it seemed a little tight. Geez, talk about tiring. I could barely reach the zipper on my back. After, 5 minutes of struggling, I was impatient and used up all of my force to pull it up. Done. Finally! But, my hair was stuck in between the zipper! Ugh, stupid long hair. I began to panic. I was completely stuck. Harry was on shift in the burger joint, so I sent him an emergency message. He sent me 5 crying with laughter emojis back, but he also said he'd be straight over. I couldn't expect him to come into the girls' restrooms, so I had to try and walk out into the mall foyer. My hair was stuck, so I had my face up to the sky, and every step was shaky due to the high heels. My 2 arms went straight out to navigate since I couldn't properly see the way. I must have looked like a zombie. People were whispering and laughing. It flustered me, and I tripped. The laughters were even louder now, and I couldn't even get up. I laid there in a weird position, feeling so helpless as anger and embarrassment filled me up. Thank God I heard a familiar voice.
Kat? Are you okay?
Harry to the rescue. Finally! He shooed everyone away, took the heels off my feet, and helped me get up. Then he said,
Oh my God, Kat. What have you done? Seriously, why are you making a fool of yourself just because of some jock? You've lost yourself, Kat.
He kept on grumbling as he tried to fix the zipper. Great! As if I wasn't already miserable enough. He was treating me just like my mom did. I was so angry, I pushed him out of my way as soon as he was done with the zipper, then stomped off. I was so mad. I washed all of the makeup off my face, changed back to my normal clothes, and went home. No more party or whatever. I was done. As soon as I reached home, I ran straight to my room and saw a brand new dress on my bed. What? I never wanted to see one of those evil things again. I grabbed the dress and stormed downstairs and started screaming at Mom. I won't wear this. I hate it. I will never be like Little Miss Perfect Taylor, so please stop. I expected Mom to yell back, but to my surprise, she didn't. She told me that Harry had messaged her telling her what had happened. Oh my God, Harry, you snitch! I pulled out my phone and was about to dial the number to yell at him. Mom stopped me and continued. He's worried about you, honey, so he asked me to help you out. I saw this dress in a shop the other day and bought it for you to wear to my wedding, but I think today is a special occasion too. Put it on and go tell that boy you like him. Mom hugged me. Wow, talk about an emotional roller coaster. I was so touched and embarrassed about my thoughts and actions, so I agreed to let Mom help me curl my hair and apply my makeup, and I wore the dress she bought. I actually looked pretty cute, not gonna lie. She looked so happy and wished me good luck as I walked out of the house in ballet pumps, not high heels. Those things are evil. The party wasn't till later, so I texted Garrett and told him to meet me at the coffee shop around the corner. Everything was set. There's only one last step left. Hey, Kat here again. Are you ready for the next part of my story? If you haven't seen the first 2 parts, then what are you doing? Go and watch them right now. But if you have seen them, do you remember what happened to me? I'm a tomboy, a fact which my mom hates. Then her fiancé Max moved in with his girly daughter Taylor, and Mom clearly favored her over me. If this wasn't enough to deal with, I was then in an embarrassing situation at the mall while trying to be girly to impress this cute guy called Garrett who's into girly girls. So after the rescue of my best friend Harry and some help getting ready from my mom, I arranged to meet Garrett at the coffee shop so I could tell him exactly how I felt about him before his soccer team party. As I walked up the street to meet Garrett, I felt so happy. I'm sure it would be a surprise for him to see me dressed all girly, and he'd be into it. Then we'd kiss. Wow, that sounds great. I was the first one there, so I grabbed a hot chocolate and waited. Geez, that 5-minute wait felt like 5 years. Then he strolled through the door looking so casual but cute. He looked me up and down and then said,
Kat, you do know the party later is just a casual hangout?
I kept my cool as I replied, Oh, this old dress? It's just something I threw on in a hurry. He ordered a drink and we talked for a bit. I knew it was the only chance, either now or never, so I just came out with it. Look, Garrett, I think you're cool. Really cool, in fact. I have a crush on you. No, I think I like you a lot. He looked a little flustered, but surely this was totally normal, as he was just digesting my words, right? After a few minutes of silence, he gave me an awkward look as he said,
Kat, I think you're great, but you're not my type. I just see you as one of the boys.
I'm not his type? And he just sees me as a boy? I sat there completely heartbroken. Each word he said felt like a sharp knife stabbing into my little heart. I immediately stood up and asked him, "What, you don't think I'm a girl? I'm in a dress, for goodness sake. If I'm not girly enough for you, then who is?" He seemed a bit confused by my question, then reluctantly replied,
I'm into gentle girls who need me to protect. Like Taylor, for example. She's your sister, right? Could you help me and Taylor become a couple?
What? Not only did he have the cheek to publicly reject me, but now he was admitting to me that he liked that Barbie doll? I yelled at him. You have to be kidding me. Out of all the girls in the world, you like Taylor? Then I stormed out of there, relieved that I'd worn ballet pumps over evil high heels. I arrived home to the smell of freshly baked scones. Then I saw my mom and Taylor baking together in the kitchen. I wasn't in the mood for cooking with Barbie hour, so I slammed the door shut and stomped up to my room. My mom appeared and shouted up the stairs to me, "Hey, honey, how was your date? Why are you back so early?" Seriously, it was pretty clear from my door slamming that it hadn't gone well. Why did she feel the need to humiliate me in front of Taylor, of all people? Get real, Mom. I'm clearly upset. But then, what do you know? You only care about your shiny new daughter, Taylor. I ran into my room to change out of that damn dress I was wearing. Then I threw it down the stairs at her and yelled out, "It's your dress, so take it back, and play dress-ups with her instead." My mom looked hurt, and at first, I felt a little bad. But then she shouted back, "Why can't you just act like a normal girl and grow up? If you stopped being so selfish and made an effort with your appearance, your date might have gone better." Then Taylor continued, "Don't be too much for Mom. She means well. If that boy doesn't like you, then that's your issue, not hers." What the hell? How dare this nobody blame me? And why was she calling my mom Mum? I didn't call Max Dad. Ugh, she was the worst person in the world. I hated her. I wanted her to go back to Barbie Land and never come back. I stormed out of the house and took the bus to my dad's house. I tried to hold back my emotions so that I wouldn't burst into tears, but honestly, I had nothing. Garrett had brutally rejected me in favor of Taylor. I was still in a mood with Harry, and Mom had made it clear I was an embarrassment to her. The worst part was Harry had been right. I had lost myself. I was not myself anymore. I showed up at Dad's, and as soon as he opened the door, I burst into tears and hugged him. I told him everything and begged him to let me live with him. Dad tried to analyze everything for me. After a while, I calmed down and realized that, okay, maybe I was a bit sassy with Mom. Then Dad said, "Actually, Kat, there's something I wanted to tell you. I really still love your mom and want you to help me get back with her." Whoa! I wasn't expecting that, but I was totally down for helping him. Goodbye to Barbie Taylor and hello to a proper family. Dad allowed me to stay for the night to let the tension between Mom and me calm down. His apartment was on the small side, so I had to sleep on the couch. But I didn't mind, as it meant I could stay up watching movies all night without Mom moaning at me that I needed my beauty sleep. I arrived home the next day to Mom and Max cleaning the house together. They were laughing and joking around and, yeah, okay, they looked really happy together. But Dad deserved this happiness more, right? I greeted both of them, but only Max replied. My mother ignored me like I was invisible. She must have still been mad at me. So all this tension wasn't a part of my get Dad back with Mom plan. So before I left for school, I walked up to Mom, said sorry, then kissed her on the cheek. Cheesy, but worth it. Then, as I was rummaging through my locker at school, I felt someone pat me on the shoulder. I turned around to see that it was Harry.
Kat, I'm sorry,
he said. I turned around and continued to look through my locker. I'd forgiven him already, but I wanted to make him sweat a bit first.
Come on, Kat. I won't be able to study if I know you're mad at me, and my grades will suffer.
I laughed and said, "Take me out for ice cream after school, and I may consider forgiving you."
I think I can manage that.
He smiled at me. After school, we went to the ice cream shop nearby. My mood was so good, and I told Harry all about my plan to get Dad back with Mom. He wasn't so sure about it, but regardless of this, he promised to have my back. So, I had an ally, and the plan to heal my parents' feelings officially began. First, I invited Dad over for dinner. Mom wasn't overly impressed, but she couldn't say no. After all, he was my dad. During the meal, I went on about past stories, such as the time we all went on vacation together for my 7th birthday, and Dad lost his swimming trunks in the sea. My parents and Max just laughed, but I could make out the annoyed look on Taylor's face. After the meal, we watched TV together, and Taylor volunteered to make drinks for everyone. Then she brought out 5 glasses of orange juice. Dad took a large sip of his, then immediately spit it out all over his clothes and rushed to the toilet. Turns out she'd put mustard in my dad's glass, but neither Max nor Mum said anything about it. Damn little Taylor. Then one night, when I knew that Mum and Max were going on a private date, I deliberately hid Max's key. By the time they found them in the plant pot 2 hours later, they'd missed their time slot. Talk about success. Another day, my mom suggested going on a picnic, so I immediately called Harry and my dad and invited them to join. Then, while we were in the park waiting for Harry to show up, I saw Garrett walking over, hand in hand, with Taylor. Talk about awkward. Garrett couldn't even meet my eye, and I just wanted the ground to swallow me up. Mom asked them how long they'd been together. She said 2 weeks, so I did the math. OMG. That meant they got together on the day I confessed my feelings towards him. Whatever. I was so over Garrett. Although I have to admit, I was relieved when I saw Harry walking over with a basket full of my favorite foods. Taylor kept asking Garrett to feed her. Ew. It was so awkward. When Harry saw me staring at the couple with bullet-like eyes, he so quickly passed me a slice of chocolate cake. A while later, I asked Harry to help me take some photos. Then I quickly dragged Dad and Mom to take family pictures. I could see Dad was enjoying standing next to her, and I heard him tell her that she looked beautiful. Good one, Dad. Only Taylor wasn't having any of it. She immediately led Max over and pushed me out of the way so he could stand next to Mom. I stood next to Taylor, and before Harry counted to 3, I flipped Taylor's hair and deliberately stood over her. She glared at me. But I'm on top of the world, sucker! Anyway, I felt so good after that picnic, and I even thought that the day when Dad returned home would be soon. But a few days later during dinner, Mom and Max went on about what starters they wanted at their wedding. What? She still wanted to marry Max? So what about my dad? I immediately showed my annoyance, skipped my half-eaten meal, and stormed up to my room. I sat in my room, looked back at the picnic photos, and thought about my next plan. Then I heard a knock on the door. It was Max.
Kat, I have something important to tell you,
he said with a sad voice. Uh-oh, this couldn't be good. Could it? Hey, Kat here. Again. I hope you're not bored of me yet. As if. Anyway, here's a recap of the last part of my story so far. In the last episode, I confessed my feelings to my crush, Garrett, but he rejected me because I was not girly enough for him. To make it even worse, he said he liked Taylor and wanted me to help them become a couple. I couldn't believe it. I was so furious that I argued with my mom. Then I came to my dad's house, and that's when my dad asked me to help him get back with Mom. Apparently, I jumped at the chance and immediately put my healing family relationships plan into action. But suddenly, Max said that he wanted to tell me something important. So, okay, he led me out to the garden. I followed him and kept wondering what he wanted to talk to me about. Did he know I wanted to split him and my mom up, and he was going to scold me for it? No way! As soon as we sat down, I asked him immediately, "What's the matter?" He just smiled. "I wanted to chat with you, so that we could understand each other better." I gave him a doubtful look. Why did he suddenly care about me? Jeez, this was so awkward. Then Max said, "Kat, I know that you want your parents to get back together." He hesitated a bit, then continued, "I don't dare to say that I'm better than your dad, but, we are all from broken families, and I just want to give you, your mom, and Taylor a happy home life. So, I hope that you'll accept me and give me a chance." I didn't know how to reply to him. Okay, so I knew that Max truly loved my mom, as he always looked at her affectionately. But what about my dad? He was miserable without Mom, and if given the chance, he would definitely make us happy. As for Max, I was sure he'd have no trouble finding someone else. Okay, so I might have said Max was kind, but the reality was he wasn't right for Mom, but my dad was. I mean, they had history, and they had me. The wedding day loomed closer, and Mom and Max grew even soppier together. I wanted to cancel the wedding, but it seemed impossible. But then I realized something. Maybe I could somehow delay it? I had thought seriously for a few days. Then I came up with an idea. I would pretend to break my leg. If I couldn't come to the wedding, my mom had to postpone it, right? OMG! I was absolutely a genius. I immediately messaged Harry and told him about my bright idea for my Get Dad Back with Mom plan. Naturally, he replied I was bonkers, but he agreed to help me. He even told me how that could work, as his cousin was a doctor and he would definitely help us. Awesome! However, to make this plan work, first of all, I had to appear helpful so Mom wouldn't suss me out. So I kept asking her about the wedding preparations and said that she could tell me if she needed help. At first, she was quite surprised, but then she looked so happy and satisfied. Maybe Mom thought that her beloved daughter had finally grown up. That day, after school, I put the plan into action. Of course, with the help of Harry's doctor cousin. His cousin was really helpful. After bandaging my leg, he even gave me advice on how to walk, like I had really broken it. Then Harry took me home. When seeing me, my mom was totally terrified. She kept asking us what had happened. Harry lied that during a game of soccer, I'd tried to steal the ball and fallen awkwardly on my leg. I hadn't wanted to worry them, so he'd taken me to his cousin's clinic. I'd fractured it, and it would take me about 4 weeks to recover. His story was so real that I almost believed it myself. He was absolutely the best comrade in my life. After that, Mom spent more time taking care of me and wasn't as strict as before. Honestly, it was great. However, I really missed practice, and lying on my bed all day wasn't as fun as it sounded. My bedroom was on the 2nd floor, so my mom always brought me food so that I didn't need to go downstairs. One day, after lunch, I was so bored that I decided to go over to my desk to pick up my laptop and play some music. While I was standing and swinging to the rhythm, my mom came in with a plate of fruit in her hand. I was so surprised, but I immediately leaned on the desk and said, "Ay." She rushed to help me and asked what I was doing. In my most pitiful voice, I said, "Mom, I wanted to practice walking for your big day, but my leg just hurts so much, and I'm not sure I'll be able to cope with the wedding." She stroked my hair and said, "It's okay, honey. Harry will come with you to the wedding and help you out." I leaned on her and sobbed. I can't do it. You see, Taylor will look like a princess, and I'll look like an Egyptian mummy. I wish there was some way the wedding could be delayed for a bit. My voice was smaller, and my eyes filled with false tears. Oh my God, forget soccer. I needed to join the drama club. The next day, she came into my room with Max, and she told me that they had some big news. "We can't contemplate getting married without you there, so we've decided to postpone the wedding until your leg is better." OMG. I'm a genius. but I tried not to look too excited. As soon as they left my room, I messaged Dad and told him the amazing news. Then I told him that I'd given him more time, but he needed to up his game. After that, Dad dropped in all the time, with the excuse that he wanted to check on me. But the problem was that Max was always around, so Dad couldn't have any private time with Mom. Cue the next step of my plan. I told my mom that I wanted to move down to Taylor's bedroom as her room was on the first floor, so I could walk around the house and get some fresh air. She agreed Taylor and I could switch rooms. But I begged again. No way! Taylor stole my crush, and now she's gonna live in my room? It's too much to even think about. Why don't you tell Max and Taylor to move out for a while? At least until my leg's better. Whenever I see Taylor running and dancing around, it bugs me out. She's so insensitive. Mom looked flustered, but she tried to keep calm and persuaded me to exchange the room with Taylor, just until my leg was better. At that point, Max came in. Turns out, he'd overheard our conversation. He turned to her and said,
"Mary, I think Taylor and I should go and stay with my parents for a while. Then, when Kat's all healed up, we can come back."
Mom's eyes filled up with tears, and I did feel a little bad, but when I saw him kiss her on the top of the head, I just felt annoyed. Mom belonged with Dad, not him. That night, while I was lying on the bed and texting Harry, Taylor stormed in looking furious. I took my eyes off the phone, smirked, and said, "Oh, it's nice of you to take time out of packing to visit me." She yelled at me, "Stop being so selfish and stop this! Because of you, the wedding has been delayed, and now you're kicking us out? Newsflash, this is my home too, Kat. The world doesn't just revolve around you." I stared at her. OMG. Why couldn't she just shut up and leave already? I told her, "You can stay here, but first, you need to break up with Garrett." She was furious and ran out without saying anything. Finally, Max and Taylor moved out. Plus, Harry told me that Taylor had broken up with Garrett. Oh my god, that feeble girl was so docile. Life was pretty awesome, but I couldn't wait to lose that itchy bandage. Dad popped by loads to take care of me. He even brought some cherry cakes and tulips, my mom's favorites for her. I felt like after all these storms, my family were finally reunited. Then, after a whole agonizing month, it was time for the bandage to go. Of course, I couldn't go to the clinic with my mom, so I came up with some excuse that I wanted to eat her clam soup when I got back. It worked, as she called Harry to go with me. When the bandage was removed, I cheered, and Harry laughed at me.
"I hope it was worth it, Kat,"
he said. It totally was. I winked at him. I arrived home expecting Mom to greet me excitedly, but she wasn't in the kitchen. I heard voices coming from upstairs, so I stealthily put my ear against the door and heard Mom's voice. "We're over, Satya! How can you beg for me back after what you did?" Then I heard Dad reply,
"I'm so sorry. It was all my fault. I should never have forced you to have an abortion just because the baby was a girl. But you know the pressures of having a son in India. Moreover, then there were your complications. You had one chance at having a baby. That's why I thought holding out for a son would be better. But that was the past. I've changed now. I love you and our daughter, and I just want to take care of you both."
"Oh, please. You only support Kat dressing like a boy because you want her to be a boy. Please, stop bothering us and leave us alone." What? Turns out, Dad had never truly supported me. He just wanted to have a son? He was the one who didn't want me to exist in the world. All along, he was the villain, not Mom. I felt disgusted. I slumped in front of the door and couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like my whole life had been one big stinking lie. Hey, Kat here. I don't want to alarm you or anything, but this is the final part of my story. I hope you'll enjoy it. And here's a reminder of what's happened in the last part. You remember, my dad told me surprising news that he wanted to get back with Mom, and he needed my help, don't you? Of course, I jumped at the chance and immediately put my healing family relationships plan into action. I knew I had to somehow delay Mom's wedding to Max, so I pretended to break my leg. My plan was totally working, as not only did they postpone the wedding, but Max and Taylor moved out to give me time to heal. I was very satisfied because everything was going as I planned, when suddenly, right on the day I had the bandage removed, I arrived home to hear the awful truth that shocked me to my core. My dad didn't want me to exist in the world because I was a girl. As soul-destroying as it was, I continued to listen to Mom and Dad's conversation. I heard Mom say, "I will never forgive you and never forget the moment you wanted me to get an abortion. Never! So don't think I will ever let you come back to this family." Dad replied,
Mary, please, I beg you.
I'd heard enough, so I ran into my room. It all made sense now. No wonder Dad supported my tomboy style, because he desperately wanted a boy. As for my mom, she tried to make me dress up like a girl to get revenge on him. Feeling unwanted and unloved, I packed some clothes and quietly left the house. Normally, when I was upset, I would run to my dad's, but that option was out, obviously, so where could I go? Then I thought about Harry, so I called him to pick me up, and I just told him that I felt really bad right now and wanted to run away from home. Without knowing what the exact problem was, he showed up and drove us to the beach. He bought us loads of snacks, and we sat there in silence and watched the sun go down. Then Harry turned to me and said,
Are you ready to talk about it now?
I sighed, ate a handful of Cheetos, then told him everything. I still can't believe it. My dad, the person I love the most, didn't want me at all. Then my mom just used me to make him suffer. Talk about exhausting. It's best if I disappear from their lives. It's not like I'm wanted here anyway. Harry listened. He looked shocked, but he didn't interrupt me. Then he patted me on the back and pulled me in for a big hug. It was weird because we never usually showed each other that kind of affection, but it didn't feel strange at all. Instead, I felt safe next to him. At this vulnerable moment, he's the only person I still trusted. After a long silence, Harry turned to me and said,
Who said you aren't wanted? I'm happy that you were born. I mean, meeting you is the best thing that ever happened to me. I've never met someone like you before. Kat, you're a brave and an amazing girl.
My heart skipped a beat, and I felt my face turn bright red. I never knew that Harry thought of me like that. Then he touched my hand and said,
And there's something you should know. I really...
Oh my God. I didn't know why my heart was beating so fast. What's he gonna say? But then his phone rang. It was my mom. She'd been looking for me for hours and was worried sick. When Harry told her I was with him and I was fine, she sounded so relieved. I'm not a blubber. I cried and couldn't stop. I let Harry tell her where we were. When Mom arrived, she rushed over and hugged me. Why didn't you tell me you were at the beach? I was so worried. Honey, don't you ever do that to me again. I hugged her and cried so loud, I didn't really know why I cried. Maybe because it was the first time we've ever properly hugged, and I could feel her love towards me. After we finally stopped crying, and trust me, it took a while, I told her that I knew the reason why she'd divorced Dad. She wiped off tears on my face and said, "Oh, sweetie, I kind of guessed you must have heard us fighting earlier. I'm so sorry about that. And now you know the reason why I was always so strict on you and wanted you to dress like a girl, to show your dad how amazing it is to have a daughter. But instead, you dress and behave like a boy, just like your father wanted. But Mom, you have to understand that I dress and behave like this because it's who I am. It's not because of Dad, not because of Harry, not because of anyone. If I change, it would mean that I don't live as my true self anymore. So, can you please let me be me, Mom?" My mom smiled at me, and replied, "Oh, of course, sweetie. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. It was so selfish of me. I was so focused on going against your father that I forgot about your feelings. Can you ever forgive me?" "Of course, Mom." And then we cried again. Since then, things with my mom have improved a lot, but there was still some unfinished business I had to handle. Firstly, I had to swallow my pride and apologize to Max and Taylor. Harry came with me for moral support. We all sat down, and I apologized for being a childish brat. "You're a good man, Max, and my mom truly loves you. I would be grateful if you and Taylor would be a part of this family. Can you two please come back?" I said. He looked shocked for a moment, but then he smiled at me and said,
"With pleasure. I miss your mom so much, it's driving me crazy."
"Yep, he's been so miserable without her," Taylor added. "I'm sorry to you too, Taylor. Do you need some help with packing?" I asked her. Taylor smiled at me and replied, "Sure, that'd be great." So Mum and Max had a small ceremony in the end, although I still ended up wearing a dress, but hey, it was an exception for Mum's special day. It was a beautiful ceremony, and Mum looked amazing. Next, I had to make Taylor and Garrett get back together. I went to see Garrett at school and told him that it was all my fault Taylor broke up with him. He looked quite shocked, but at the same time, he was also happy to hear me say that. Well, that was such a relief. I felt much better now, knowing that I cleared up all misunderstandings between them. Then, when I was having lunch with Taylor in the cafeteria, he walked over with this enormous bouquet of roses, passed them to her, and asked her to be his girlfriend again. Taylor looked so surprised, but then she gave me a worried look. I smiled and said, "It's okay. You two are meant for each other." She was so happy she hugged me. I guess it was good to see her happy. And last but not least, I had to finish off the beach conversation with Harry. Obviously, I couldn't let that slide that easily. I've been thinking about it a lot, wondering what could it possibly be. Geez, why does it feel like my whole body is heating up every time I think back to that moment? I asked him to come to the beach, where I prepared a blanket on the sand with 2 cans of Coke and a huge pizza. His face lit up when he saw the setup. We had an awesome time and didn't stop laughing, even when Harry teased me by reminding me how I'd worn a dress to impress Garrett. I looked Harry in the eyes and said, "Thanks. Thanks for always having my back when I needed. And, meeting you is also the greatest thing that ever happened to me. You're the only one who accepts me for who I am." He touched my hand and said,
"Kat, last time, I wanted to tell you something. I really like you, and I want us to be more than friends. Will you be my girlfriend?"
Oh my God, this was crazy. Suddenly, I felt so shy, so I gently punched his arm and turned away, looking elsewhere so he couldn't see I was blushing like a tomato. Then I said, "Okay, fine, but it's just because I pity you." He laughed and hugged me. It felt so good being in his arms. Life was pretty great. Finally. But there was just one last issue to resolve. My dad. I went round to his place and we had a super long talk. He admitted he messed up and apologized for what he'd done in the past and for trying to get me to split Mum and Max up. He told me that it didn't matter if I was a boy or not. He will always love me and is very proud of me. So, as you can see, it's been a whirlwind, but it all worked out in the end. I have the best boyfriend ever and an amazing family. I've been through a lot, but all I'm gonna say is never change who you are just to fit into the norm or to please anyone. Be yourself and the right people will love the real you. If they can't accept you for who you are, then they're just not worth it.